Welcome back to Lost Skies. Today, I want to show you my PvE ship. But first, a few things about shipbuilding. Number 1. Currently, in patch 4, everything is about weight. Whatever power you get from using iron or steel is pretty much evened out by the weight that gets added. It's just as effective to use aluminum for most components, because it's so light. While on the subject of weight, every section of your ship adds additional weight. For example, here's a single section of ship. In the ship editor, it says it weighs 289. But if you attach an atlas core to the frame, it says the beams weigh 149 and the deck is 26, so the weight really should be 175. I'm not sure if this is a bug or if I'm just overlooking something. Regardless, I'm going to be using the numbers from the ship's core. Okay, so one section weighs 175, and two sections is 308. Notice, if you do a partial section, it is somewhat less. The materials you use also greatly affect the weight. Usually, lighter materials are balanced by lacking resilience, but the ship's frame seems indestructible, so use the lightest material for that. Here, I'll use panels to clarify. If you use scrap to make a panel, it only adds 1 resilience and weighs 9 kilograms. I think it's kilograms. Where, if you use Ciborian alloy, it adds 75 resilience and also weighs 9. Bronze panel adds 54 resilience and weighs 11. Aluminum only adds 32 resilience, but is only 7 kilograms. There is also material quality. It doesn't make a huge difference, so I don't think it's worth the time to farm it, but I'll go over it quickly. There's 3 grades: regular, pure, and flawless. Here's a wood panel with a regular night birch queued up. See, it adds 22 resilience at 12 weight. Pure night birch adds 24 resilience, so 2 more than the regular, and weighs 1 kilogram less at 11. The flawless is 26 resilience at 11 kilograms. Okay, that's it for the mathy stuff. Something else to mention regarding materials. The type also affects the color. This panel is regular birch. The lighter one is night birch. Redugian birch is a yellowy color. This brownish one is pine, and this whitish one is pillar pine. There might be some other woods in the game, but this is what I had available. Same for metals. In addition to having their own stats, each type has their own color, and sometimes this changes if you choose engraved or painted panel. Like this bronze painted panel. I thought bronze was green. The pure bronze looks correct. Flawless seems fine too. Ignore that first one. I think that's just a bug. Okay, so here is an unpainted Ciborian alloy panel. And here is the painted version. See, it's a little lighter with a slightly different design. There's a copper panel and so on. This works for almost all things. Here's a reinforced deck made with different stuff. Here's a Ciborian alloy trunk. This one is scrap. And here's one made of flawless silver. Yeah, why not? Next topic, the sky core. If you want to have the most energy you can get for your engines, wings, and your crafting stations, you'll need a full sky core. So, if you go into an ARC and interact with the ARC computer, you'll want Atlas Enhancer from Tier 5, the Focuser from Tier 7, and the Advanced Generator from Tier 10. Remember to use a conductive metal for the internals, like copper or silver. Flawless silver is the best in my opinion. I got all mine from random chest drops. It takes 104 ingots for a full core. And always use your best quality Atlas crystal. Okay, now for the placement. If you have just the core and the first upgrade, you can fit it in a single section. But once you add the focuser, you're going to need to move the core away from the wall. Which will cause you trouble spawning. Oops. Always remember to register your core. It's an easy mistake to make. Okay, now when I click respawn, it spawns me outside of the ship, or sometimes clipped in the wall. You don't want this. If you have to respawn while the ship is moving, it can make getting back to the helm a real pain. To fit all three parts, it's about 1 1/4, maybe 1 1/3 sections wide. The cells aren't perfect cubes, so they're actually longer than they are wider. Make sure your Atlas core is protected, because if it takes too much damage, it will implode, crumpling your ship into a ball. For the helm, that's more of a personal choice. Some people make a cockpit to protect it. I usually put mine on top for maximum visibility. Or I guess you could just hide your helm below and fly your ship in third-person mode only. Wing placement is pretty important. Placing them horizontally will increase the force for pitching up and down. Placing a wing vertical, like this, will act more like a rudder, increasing the turning ability for left and right. In Worlds Adrift, placing wings on an angle would improve both pitch and turning, but it's hard to tell if it's the same in Lost Skies. Check out these stats right here. Wings with higher wing strength are better for pitching up and down. And wings with a higher rudder strength are better for turning left and right. Make sure this flap points towards the back of the ship. You can tell which direction is the back from the arrow above the shipyard. The arrow always points to the front. Engines can be placed on the frame, or you can even attach engines to wings. But if a wing is destroyed, everything attached to it will be lost. Here's a pro tip. The wood propeller is currently lighter than the metal one. Before I move on, there are some subcomponents for the wings and engines you can find. Right now, these are purely cosmetic, but it looks like in the next patch, they will have randomized stats so you can further customize your ship. There are lots of decorations you can add to your ship. Lights, figureheads, furniture, random books, posters, flags, plants, and trophies. There's even more crap in structural under ship attachments. I believe that's all the basics, so let's put it all together into a little solo ship. Okay, there it is. It's about 4 sections long, 5 if you count the bulkhead. If you drop down here, you can see it's about 1.5 sections wide around the core. Because the walls are slightly angled, you can crouch to sneak around here, where I have the forge and some storage tucked away. Turns out, you can also climb over the generator. I got some storage in this corner. The research station barely fits in this corner. Workbench is mostly for making ammo. Here's my campfire on the back. There's 2 rudder wings, 2 pitching wings, and 4 somewhere in between. It still barely turns. I mean, it's good enough. There's a Banshee cannon on the front for the mantas, because it has the best turning radius. Here's the bulkhead I like. I use the reinforced Cyborian canopy for a little extra protection. The mantas have killed me off the helm a few times. Even though it's made of alloy, it can't take very many hits. It's got 7 advanced Cyborian engines and 2 twin exhaust trishells. I swapped to the trishells at the end because at first there was going to be a lot more wings and I was getting close to the energy cap. But ultimately it was because the Cyborian engines didn't fit in that spot. Here's the ship stats. Most of the weight is engines and wings. The wings are made from aluminum, and the engines are also fully aluminum except for the propellers, which is birch. The turning and pitching aren't the greatest, but it's fine for just exploring and farming. It goes almost 65, so the travel time is pretty good. It might be possible to put side-facing cannons, so you could fight the Herald, but it'd be better just to make a throwaway ship for that. I imagine this is how most people play with a ship like this. I tried for a while and it's pretty good. Okay, now for my backwards way of playing. I use 2 ships, a tiny island hopper and also a bank ship. This requires 2 world slots, so I want to mention that up front. First, the travel ship. It's barely even an airship, basically a ball of engines with the helm stuck on top. It's got a cannon for the mantas and a tiny bit of storage, but most importantly is this empty spot. One of the storages has material to build a workbench or a schematics table. And if I need to smelt ingots or cook food, I just do that on the ground. So I use the ship to scurry around the world, farming chests and materials. And then when I have enough good stuff, I load up my backpack and switch to my bank world. Here's my little bank ship. I tried to make it look like a fishing boat. It never goes anywhere, so there's no engines or wings. On the top deck, I got a little cooking area and a tiny bedroom. I really like the plants you can place on your ship, but I wish there was one that lets you grow berries or tomatoes or something. These are metal walkways around the side. Let's head down through this hatch. There's a forge here, but this is mostly storage because I'm a hoarder. Here's my core, all super compact with a research table and workbench crammed in there. I didn't need an enhancer because the ship has no engines, which made placing the core a lot easier. Finally, the helm on top. But it doesn't really need one because it doesn't move. But my last bank ship didn't have one. And then my friend Dank made fun of me, so here we are. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like Lost Skies, that's pretty much all the content that I cover, so please like, subscribe, and have a good one. Anywho, did I just write anywho in my script? What is this?